Hey, it's Gabe with API Nation. Today I'm going to show you how you can sync Mailchimp to KW Command, specifically the accounts for Rainmakers and teams. This way you can have your entire office's contacts, clients, leads, everybody synced into Mailchimp. You can even have them synced into different audiences, an audience for each agent, or put them all in one giant pot so you can send out that newsletter, stay top of mind as a team, and create more deals. Super easy to set this up. Let me show you how. First thing you're going to do is hop into KW Command, and you're going to use this little marketplace icon right here, this little shop, and you're going to click on that, and it's going to take you to the marketplace. Once you're here, you're just going to search for Mailchimp, and you're going to see a bunch of tiles, a bunch of different products, and you're going to look for the product that says Mailchimp Sync for Rainmaker/Teams to KW Command. So this is the specific product that is going to allow you as a Rainmaker to connect your entire office to a Mailchimp. Go ahead and click the Start a Free Trial button, and it's going to walk you through purchasing this sync for yourself. Once you purchase it, it's going to take you to the My Apps area. In the My Apps area, you can also click this link at the top of the header to go there. But My Apps is where it keeps all of the apps you've purchased, all the syncs, all the products you've purchased in the marketplace. So you can come here, and we need to go here to set up your sync. So even though you've purchased it, that's all done and ready. Now we need to come in here and click through this tile to set it up. So I'm going to click through the tile. It's going to take me out to API Nation to go ahead and start setting up the sync. And the first thing it's going to ask you here is, what exactly do you want to set up? Do you want to set up the sync from KW Command to Mailchimp? Or do you want to set up a sync from Mailchimp to KW Command? Or do you want to set it up so Mailchimp is posting a note in KW Command when there's some activity on a specific campaign? I'm going to start with KW Command to Mailchimp. Actually, I'm going to check all three of these. And I'm going to create syncs for all three of these. So I'll hit continue to set up, and it's going to go ahead and grab all those. And first it's going to have us sign into our two apps. So first we're going to choose our KW account. Be sure to choose the team account so that we can get the entire office's contact into that Mailchimp. Hit select. Next, we're going to connect Mailchimp. Super easy. Hit connect. It's going to ask you for a name for the connection. You can just name it after your office or yourself. And it's going to ask you for an API key. So let's hop into Mailchimp and grab that. So here I am in my Mailchimp. I'll come over here to the top right, click on that, go to Profile, and then I'm going to go to Extras. There it is. Click on Extras. There's API keys. Grab that. And if you don't have any API keys here, you can go ahead and create one. So I'm going to create a key. And I'm going to call it KW Command Generate Key. There it is. So I'll copy that, go back to API Nation, and paste it in there. There we go. So now I've created the connection to Mailchimp. Now I'm just going to confirm we're creating the syncs. And here we go. You can see we have 3 syncs here in draft. So I'm going to start with the most common sync, KW Command contacts to Mailchimp. So I'm going to click on that to set it up. And this is the sync that's going to get the entire office's contacts, leads, everybody into a Mailchimp audience. That way you as an office can just send out those awesome blasts, those invitations to, block parties, to open houses, anything else. It's just going to send it out through Mailchimp, getting into over 90% of inboxes, avoiding the spam. It's a great way to do it. So let's look at a few of the configuration options here. It's taking everybody from that account. It's going to ask if you want to sync all contacts on first run. That's usually what people want to do. They're trying to get everybody from Command into Mailchimp. If I uncheck this box, then it says, let's only start putting anybody I add to Command today going forward into Mailchimp. Generally, people want everybody who currently exists in Command. Let's get them all in there. Let's get Mailchimp caught up. So I'm going to go ahead and check that box. It's going to ask you, what audience do you want to sync them into? I only have one audience right now, so I'm going to go ahead and put them in there. And if you have multiple audiences, we'll come back and talk a little bit more about how you can split up the contacts into different audiences. Finally, we're going to come here to filter. And if there's any reason you want to filter out some people, you can go ahead and use this it shows you all the fields available in KW Command, and you can filter based on any of them. Maybe you only want to send people who came from Zillow or Realtor.com or came from word of mouth or whatever the source is. You could do that. Or maybe you only want to send people to your email newsletter who you tag as, newsletter. That way, when you're in KW Command, you think this person would be great. Let's get them an email. Let's get them on our email list. All you have to do is tag them newsletter. It'll put them on your newsletter list. You can do that. It gives you a little bit more control over who exactly is going on your email newsletter list, which could be helpful because MailChimp does charge based on the number of contacts you have in there. So if you're trying to keep it nice and tight to just people you know are real email addresses that you know are good, you could use something like a tag to be a little bit more discreet about who's going in there. I'm going to go ahead and save that. I'm actually going to stick with this newsletter idea. Come down here to mapping. The email, the first name, the last name, we do this for you. If there's anything else you want to sync in here, you can go ahead and do that. Also, something nice to consider is that MailChimp allows us to pull in and sync to the custom fields in MailChimp. So if there's something in KW Command, let's see, something like neighborhood name, you can go ahead and create a field in MailChimp called neighborhood name, and then you would just map this KW field to the new custom field in MailChimp. So something to think about. This looks good. I'm going to go to the top and activate this sync. So there we go. The sync is now up and running. So we set up this sync, just tagging them as newsletters, sending them into MailChimp. But what if you had multiple audiences and you wanted to split people out? Let's say you had 2 different agents. So what you would do is you would go ahead and select the audience for your agent. Let's say I have one for Agent Jones. And then I would come down here to filter. And I could go to owner name. That's the owner of the contact or lead, and say contains Jones. And as long as I only have one agent whose last name is Jones, this will work. I could put their full name and that would take care of it also. But so yeah, this is good. Now it'll only take people who are owned by Jones and sync them into Agent Jones. And then I could just clone this and do it for any other agent. So I would just come down here to the audience, choose the new audience for Agent Anderson or Agent Sanchez, and then go down here to the filter and change the owner name to Sanchez, Johnson, whatever it is. Hit save and then activate that one as well. So this is the way that you can take all your entire offices, contacts, and sync them into different audiences inside MailChimp. Another thing we get asked is, what if I want to get my tags from KW Command into MailChimp? So to do that, let's go back to that original sync. What you would do is first you would go into MailChimp. You're going to go into your audience dashboard and go into manage audience settings. And here you're going to create a custom field called KW tags. So I'm going to come down here to audience fields and merge tags, and I'm going to create a custom field for KW tags. So we're just going to go to the very bottom, hit add a field. We're going to choose text field, and we're going to call it KW tags. You can see it's creating it. It's going to make an untitled field at the very bottom here. Scroll back. There it is. There's our new field. We're going to call it KW tags, and we're ready to go. Save changes. All right, now if we go back to our API Nation sync and refresh it, I'm going to refresh the page. Now we should have a field in here called KW tags that we can map the tags from KW into. So if I'm going to come down here to the mapping, and we should see, there it is, KW tags. So I'm going to hit +, search for tags, there it is, and pop it in there. Okay, so this is going to get the tags into MailChimp. One thing to note, this is not syncing the tags from KW as tags in MailChimp. So you see over here in MailChimp, there's this tags area where you can tag people as regular tags in MailChimp. That's not what it's doing. It's not syncing it one-to-one. It's actually putting it in a field for the contact called tags as a separate field. So what you can do then is there's 2 ways you can then handle it. One, you can create a segment and you can go ahead and just have the segments filtered out by the tags in the KW tags field. So I'm going to call this, KW hot tag. And then I would just add a filter here and I would say in the KW field, KW tags field, is there anything that contains hot? And if there is, I'll hit review segment. It's going to say nobody right now and save segment. But basically now I have a segment here that's always automatically updating. Anytime I tag somebody as hot in KW, it's going to change the field in Mailchimp so that it now says hot in that KW tags field, and it's going to put them in this segment. And I would just create a segment for each of my important tags. KW military, add a filter, come down here to tags, tags as contains military. And whatever other tags you may want to keep track of, have a segment made out of. And then, whenever you hop into Mailchimp, you can create a campaign, and then you can just select the segment or the kind of tag you want and send it to them. So that's one way you can handle these tags. The other way you can handle these tags is to come over here to journeys, and you're going to build a journey from scratch. And this has a little bit more work on the up front, but it's a little bit slicker on the back. So I'm just going to call this hot tag and start building. And basically what this is going to do, when a contact is added, so I'm going to say signs up, and anybody I'm imported, that works too, save starting point. So as soon as somebody is added to my audience, I'm going to add a little journey point and say if else. And then similar to that last thing we did, come down up to KW tags and say if KW tags contains hot, and save. So now we're taking anybody who signs up or gets imported into my audience. We're asking it if the word hot is in the tags field, and if it's yes, then I'm going to add a little activity here, and I'm going to say add a tag, and this is the actual Mailchimp tags tag hot, and I'm going to apply it. So I'm going to add it and hit save. There we go. And if no, then don't do anything. Contact exits. So I would just set up a journey for each of the tags that's important. This will work if you have 5 or 6, 7, 8 tags. No big deal. If you're working with like 40 tags, this is probably a little bit much. But yeah, you can do it this way. As you tag people, as they're imported into Mailchimp, they go through this if then else, and if they have that word hot in the tags, it goes ahead and adds the actual Mailchimp tag. Just note, if you remove a tag in KW command, it's not going to remove it in Mailchimp. If you remove a tag in Mailchimp, it's not going to remove it in KW command. Only if you add one in KW command will it add it in Mailchimp. So there you go. That is Mailchimp and KW command. Let's go back and look at those two other syncs. And we have 2 syncs left. Mailchimp subscribers to KW command contacts is the next one I want to look at. This is pretty rare, but I have seen some agents use this successfully. Basically, if you have Mailchimp, Mailchimp has some features in it where you can sign up for a Mailchimp audience. Some pop-ups. They have some stuff on Facebook where people can subscribe to your Mailchimp audience. So if you've done that and you have people subscribing to Mailchimp, maybe you want to make sure everybody who subscribes to Mailchimp also gets added to KW. So that's what this sync is for. So you come down here, select the audience where people are subscribing, decide if you want to sync everybody who's currently in that audience into KW command. I'm going to go ahead and say yes. And then you're going to say what you're going to do with these contacts as they come over. Because you have a Rainmaker account, you can actually go ahead and just send them to lead routing. That way, as they come into KW command, you can use the rules you've already established in command to send the contacts to whichever agent they're supposed to go to. Just make sure you specify a source here. And then you can choose if you want to overwrite information. So if they already exist in KW command, should we overwrite it? Or should I check this box and say, don't overwrite it, just fill in any extra fields if there happens to be some new information. So you could do that, or you can choose not to send it to lead routing. And then you'll choose if you want to mark it as a lead or just keep it as a contact. I'm going to mark it as a lead. And then you can decide if you want to send it to yourself or choose another agent you want to send these Mailchimp contacts to. Maybe you're setting this up for Eager. That agent, he's got a list here and he's trying to get it to himself. And you, as a good broker as a good admin are helping him out. So you could do that. You could just have everybody from his audience who's signing up for it getting assigned to him. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with the lead routing. That way everybody gets synced into KW Command and they get kind of parsed out to the correct agent. Come down here to filter. Again, you could filter based on anything from MailChimp, including that KW Commands tags field we just set up. And then here's the mapping: first name, email, phone number, last name. One thing you might want to be sure of is if you are getting subscribers to your MailChimp and you want them to get into KW Command, make sure the form you have that they're signing up for, first name, email, and phone number is required. Otherwise, you're just going to get a bunch of email addresses. You're not going to be able to sync those into KW Command without first and last name. So you're going to make sure first and last name and email at the very least are required. There's a bunch of other stuff that might be in MailChimp as well. We'll sync that in. This all looks good. I'm going to go ahead and activate this sync. So there we go. Now, if I have people subscribing to my MailChimp, those people are going to get synced into KW Command as well. The last type of sync we have for MailChimp and KW Command is if you have a campaign, maybe like a journey or a greeting campaign that you want to know how well it's doing, you can go ahead and connect it up to KW Command so that it posts a little note when there's activity with that campaign. So you would come in here, select the activity. Maybe I just want to see, I'm going to go ahead and choose email opened. And then you'll just choose the campaign you want to keep track of. So make sure you know exactly which campaign it is in MailChimp. They all have different names. If you go in here and go over here to campaigns or journeys, just remember what the name of the journey email is or the campaign. So I'm going to go with test campaign for now. And then you'll come down here to mapping and you'll just put in a little title, note title. So test campaign email opened. And then in the note details, you can put whatever information you think is important. Maybe the user email address. So I'll say this email address has opened, and then I'll put a little plus sign. The test campaign email at, and then I'll put a little plus sign, and then put the activity timestamp. Make sure the email address is here. That's how we're going to map up who exactly is supposed to get this note. This looks good. And I'm going to go ahead and save everything and activate this sync. So now as that test campaign is going out, maybe as people join, as the journey email goes out to greet them, if they open it in KW Command, you'll get a little note on the contact that says contact has opened that email. And that would actually be in the notes right over here, kind of in that activity area. It's going to allow you to see exactly how that campaign is doing with different contacts as you go through them and check out the activities. So that's it. That's how you sync MailChimp to KW Command. You can have all your contacts, all your leads, all your clients synced into MailChimp. You can have it filtered so it syncs into different MailChimp audiences. You can have tags come over from Command into MailChimp. And then you can have people who sign up to your MailChimp sent over to Command so you can follow up with them there. It's a great way to combine these two apps to use seamlessly together to create more deals. If you need any assistance setting this up for you or your team, go to apination.com/KW. There you can call us, send us an email, and even set up a live session of support. We're API Nation, connecting the world's applications. We love doing this stuff.